Welcome to another episode of the Daily Chat Podcast, where we talk about all things awesome and nerdy. All right, everybody. Returning is a guy we haven't had in a little while. Dan, welcome back.
Hi.
Hey.
It's a rough Sunday morning. I'm feeling afraid around the edges. I might throw up on your microphone.
Oh, okay. Well, if you do, you're buying me new ones.
Yeah. Well, luckily you got this nice pop filter, so
okay.
We'll get through all the chunks. It'll just get stuck.
Gross.
Well, you know what? You can't fly with eagles if you spend all night dancing with the turkeys.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but we're just going to get moving.
I don't either. My dad used to say it, so I assume that I'm a turkey.
Okay. Fucking jive turkey.
I don't know. I woke up early this morning, too, but
I
need a nap.
So, we're going to be doing yet another list show because I know you guys can't get enough of them because it's the internet.
At this point, we're just becoming Ranker.
What?
At this point, we're just becoming Ranker.
Exactly.
Or What Culture.
What Culture? WatchMojo.com.
WatchMojo.com.
But we're better than them.
Yeah. Like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification button so that way you never miss out on our sexy voice.
Ding.
That was just the call from Comics Explained. I like that dude though.
Yeah, I just did whatculture.com. So.
Yeah. See.
Exactly. But no, seriously, like, share, and subscribe, guys. Like, share, and subscribe.
Do it, please.
Do it now. But anyway, so we're going to be doing another list show, and this one's going to be another very divisive one, I guess, between the two of us. We're going to be doing...
I guess. I expect a little bit more overlap.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I think like villains, we would have had a greater departure.
Well, we're going to do that one later. But right now, we are going to be doing the top... we're both, Dan and my top 5 picks for best... comic book page to screen adaptation of a character, and we're mainly focusing on the big ones right now. We're not doing any small screen ones, are we? Or I'm not doing any.
I didn't pick anything from television, if that's what you mean. Like, I didn't do anything from like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or like the Netflix shows or like the CW.
Exactly.
I mean, even though that we all know like the Flash on TV is like the greatest representation of the Flash that's ever.
An abortion now.
Oh my God, that show is so terrible.
It started off pretty well.
Iris West is the best Flash. I mean, that's all that I've learned about watching the Flash.
You actually saw that episode.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, God, it was such a terrible episode. Such a terrible season. But anyway,
if I could divulge just for a minute, I've really missed the days when like Barry Allen was excited to be the Flash. Mm-hmm. Like now he just treats it like such a friggin' chore, and I'm like so mad at superheroes when they do that. They're like, "Oh, I have so many infinite powers, and I can run so fast and go back in time and change the timeline. Woe is me!" And I'm just like, dude, like I live in Los Angeles. It takes me an hour and a half to get to the West Side. Like, do you know how much I wish that I could just run super fast? Like, shut up.
It's not even a matter of it takes an hour and a half to get to the West Side. It's more like it takes an hour and a half just to get to the end of my driveway.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. All right, but at any rate, so for this list, the way it's going to work is not only are we going to be doing breaking down people who were the best interpretations of this, but of a particular character from the movie screen. I mean, from the comic book page to the movie screen, but also if they took the character to another level within the comics.
Right, so this is not necessarily like who gave the best performance, but this is like the most faithful adaptation to the comic book and or like was like reinterpreted or reinvigorated that comic book character to like reflect that actor more.
Exactly.
Essentially. So this is not like, winning an Oscar out of, I don't think anyone's ever been nominated.
No.
I mean, visual effects, like these movies get nominated.
What was it? Last year for the Oscars, Logan got nominated for best, what do you call it?
Yeah, but Hugh Jackman didn't get a nod for, like, best actor.
No,
or
he
like,
should have.
Well,
I think he should have.
It's funny. I mean, that's the weird thing about the Academy Awards. Everything needs to be, like, this dramatic drama coming-of-age story of a gay tailor who makes his way through the African jungle to save his, like, and you're just like, it can't be a fun movie. Like, not that that's not powerful and that's not riveting, but like, let's include a comedy every once in a while, or like
exactly.
that was a nice thing about like Get Out winning, was that like a horror movie actually won an Academy Award.
Horror/comedy.
You thought Get Out was funny?
It had its moments. Early in the movie.
It was It was dark humor, I
was very
suppose,
dark humor.
at best, but
It was
like
dark humor, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me. If you didn't think it was funny, fine. It's just I thought there were a couple like good quips, is what I'm trying to say in that movie.
Yeah, okay, but I don't think I'd ever like find that under the comedy section of
I
like.
find it under horror first, but I'm pretty sure it's listed as a horror /
All right, had some funny moments. I'll give you that.
Yeah. But at any rate, so why don't we just get started onto this list? So I am going to go first.
Okay.
And then we're going to do what we normally do. We're going to bounce back and forth with each other.
And debate. And debate. And I'm
debate.
gonna tell you why you're wrong.
Exactly. As
Okay.
always.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Dan.
That's all right. That's why I'm here.
So for me, my number 5 is the newest entry on this list. One that I've talked about before. I know Dan isn't the biggest fan of it just because I'm going with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I know you're rolling your eyes right now. I see it.
I mean,
You still haven't seen the movie, and you're not even a big Spider-Man fan, so...
no, but I've seen enough of Tom Holland as Spider-Man. But like, I don't know. I guess.
Let me guess. You still gonna say Tobey?
No, I guess like you're right to a certain extent. Like given the parameters that we set for this list, which is like most faithful comic book adaptation of like Spider-Man in like his early days, is like the geeky, nerdy.
Exactly.
Like for me, I think Tobey Maguire was probably a better Spider-Man.
You see, here's my
Don't
thing
at
when it
me.
comes to it, and I know this is the third guy we've had in the past 20 years to play Spider-Man, but here's the way I break it down with all three of them, and that's just Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker.
Right.
Spider-Man, in my opinion. Like,
Sure.
The problem I always had with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies was the fact that they don't highlight his intelligence enough.
No, they do. They kind of do in Spider-Man too.
He didn't really quip, and any quips he made, they were terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you're out, Spider-Man. No, Goblin. You're out of your mind. And you're just like, oh my god. Like, if you actually listen to the bonus commentary on that movie, you actually hear Kirsten Dunst making fun of the dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that, and I'm gonna go with Andrew Garfield. Good Spider-Man. And Peter Parker.
Yeah, I see. The thing I always had with Andrew Garfield was that like I did not believe for a second that Andrew Garfield was like the nerdy outcast.
No, exactly. He looked more like he should be on the track team.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, the nerdiest thing about him would probably be he would have been the captain of the debate team, and not because he was the smartest, but because he was the best looking.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, the whole movie, Andrew Garfield was, like, charming and good-looking and outgoing, but he's, like, somehow also, like, the nerdy outcast. It's like, that doesn't make sense.
So, at any rate, we kind of just already covered everything about what I feel about the character, just because Tom Holland is just, like, a good, even enough blend of both being a good Spider-Man and being a good Peter Parker. Like, he gets I like the quippiness, because that's kind of Spider-Man's thing, always has been, always will be. And yeah, they do a really good job of just really beefing up the whole nerd factor.
Yeah.
Like when he's fighting Captain America and he's throwing the shield around, it's like, that thing does not want to obey the laws of physics at all. Like, who would actually say that in a fight besides Spider-Man?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
No, it's not a bad pick. That makes sense. It's a very faithful adaptation of the comic book character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alright. Or number 5, Dan?
Oh, okay. So for my number 5, I'm kicking it old school. I'm going with Blade, Wesley Snipes, because some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill, which is like. But we had this conversation. He is like the slightly funnier Batman who kills vampires.
Exactly.
And like if you read Blade, like in any of like the Midnight Suns or like early '90s comic books, when for some reason Blade was popular for some reason. I don't know why.
Because it was the 90s and everything had to be dark, gritty.
Yeah, because we
and drawn by Rob Liefeld. So
we were all obsessed with The Crow, and everybody was wearing like those duster jackets.
or those black leather jackets that came down to your ankles.
Yeah, that's a duster.
Oh,
that's
okay.
It's like a trench coat, but like not like.
Right, okay.
It's a little different than that, but yeah. I thought Wesley Snipes is like one of those characters that like.
I love how you say Wesley Snipes too, not Blade.
No, because Wesley Snipes as Blade was like the like best representation of that character, and like when you read him in the comics, it is Wesley Snipes. Like that's just who it is.
Right.
Like they just go completely hand in hand.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And who doesn't love Blade? And those movies are great. The first two are great.
I haven't seen them in forever, so I can't really say.
I watch that all the time. I own the trilogy. I bought it. I even the third one with Ryan Reynolds in a fantastic as Whistler's kids or something, and he fights Dracula. And I think it has something to do with there's like a genetically made vampire chihuahua.
Whatever.
No, it's a Pomeranian.
It's Pomeranian. Pomeranian.
It's a Pomeranian. Yeah, it's a Pomeranian. And,
They made a vampire.
They made a vampire Pomeranian. They also made like vampire Dobermans, which were like.
Okay, Doberman I could see.
Yeah,
but
those.
Pomeranian?
Yeah, remember when Dobermans were like the mean dogs? Like pit bulls have kind of like surpassed that now, but like there was like a period of time like when we were kids that like. Yeah, Dobermans were like the mean dogs.
Right.
Nobody wanted to mess with Dobermans.
Nobody wanted to mess with a Doberman.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
They got a bad rap, anyways, just like pit bulls.
Now, all right. So moving on. For my number 4, I'm actually going to go with Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach in Watchmen.
Cool, I agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. Just because if anything, like.
If anything, I disagree that that's not higher on your list.
What'd you say?
If anything, I disagree that that's not higher on your list.
There's kind of a reason why. You'll see. It was originally, but I'm making an audible and I'm switching things around right now.
Okay.
Because I realized, basically, what I'm trying to say is that Rorschach in the comic books was scary, and Jackie Earle Haley made him even scarier.
Mm-hmm.
The one biggest when it comes to that character, there's a couple of points in the movie that I like better in the comic, or there's one moment in the comic books I like better than in the movies, and then the vice versa. The one thing I didn't necessarily like in the movies, and I feel like this is just Zack Snyder just trying to be Zack Snyder and being graphic and gritty, was the whole story in the comics when he hunts down the pedophile who killed little children and fed them to his dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, in the movie, he takes a hatchet to the dude's head, which was graphic and brutal and messed up, granted, but I liked it better in the comic books where he just chains the guy to a radiator, turns on the gas, hands him a hacksaw, and then lights a candle, and then watches the house blow up. Something about that I just like better. I don't know what, it's twisted, I think it's just because it's more sadistic, I guess you could say.
It's dark.
Yeah,
It's like Saw.
Which isn't to say, taking a hatchet to some dude's head isn't dark either, it's just...
It was a brutal sequence. I remember that. That's one of those scenes that vividly sticks out in my mind. And that, when the dude sticks his hands through the bars.
Oh, yeah, that's messed up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the other thing, though, too, was... because they didn't show the scene in the comic book, but they showed it in the movie where he takes the... all the hot oil...
Oh,
and pours
yeah.
it on dude's face and then just says, you guys aren't locked in here. I'm not locked in here with you. You guys are locked in here with me. Dude... you gotta have some serious balls in order to say that in prison.
He did. Yeah. He was a bad man. Give me back my face.
Give me back my face. Because it's at a certain point, what was his quote unquote hidden identity's name again? It was something very Slavic sounding. I can't remember.
Walter Kozak.
Walter Kozak, yeah. Walter Kozak was just gone.
Yeah.
There is no Walter Kozak.
Imagine if we put all this comic book information into stock tips.
Mm-hmm. Invest in vigilantes with psychopathic disorders.
Here's what you need to know about your 401k with Dan and Kyle. Nope, you're just gonna get total BS comic book.
Power armor is down. Invest in mechas now.
I'm doing my part.
But yeah, also because part of the main reason is because like you said, you were talking about before, we mainly focus too much on the main DC and Marvel characters, and yeah, I know Rorschach is owned by DC, but still, at the time he wasn't part of the main DC universe.
No, but yeah, it was always a comic owned by DC. But yeah, you're right.
But
yeah.
Either way, I feel like that's just a character that doesn't necessarily get enough attention sometimes from the mainstream.
Yeah.
Even though with that one movie. And I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm kind of just done. Big, scary vigilante that kills people. It was awesome.
He's a little dude though.
Yeah.
Rorschach. So is Jackie Earle Haley. Yeah. So is Jackie Earle Haley. That was that was a really strong casting on both sides for that. It matched up really well.
I think he was the best cast character out of all.
Yeah. If anything, the only person I could ever think to play Rorschach besides him would be Jimmy Fallon. Because that would just be absolutely hysterical. Just laughing and breaking and lauking at the camera all the time. It's you're not locked in here with me.
Oh, God.
And he just for no reason just laughs and hits the table even when nothing funny happens.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're number 4?
I got a 2-parter on this one.
Oh, okay.
Because I know we said no villains, but we did say anti-heroes.
Yeah, anti-heroes are allowed.
And I don't know where to bucket this anymore because it's been both. But I went with the combo of Professor X, Sir Patrick Stewart, and Magneto, Sir Ian McKellen.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I don't know. I feel like we've gotten to the point now where if they make the next X-Men movie with Sir Ian McKellen. Like, I feel like he's going to be a good guy.
Or at the very least, not that evil.
I mean, that's kind of usually how, like...
But isn't that kind of what he was in X2?
That's exactly what he was in X2. He was like the quote-unquote, like, I wouldn't say good guy, but he was on, like, the good team until like, the last 5 minutes, where he was like, oh, no, a sudden but inevitable betrayal. Right. Who would have ever thought Magneto would do something dickish? Like, whoa.
He's only been saying death to humans more times than Bender, so...
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, the dude has legitimate grievances, so...
No, yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to get into that, but, like, yeah, but he's got...
At the very least, I understand his grievances more than Bender's. Bender is just a sociopath.
Yeah, Bender's just a sociopath. But I always thought that, like, I mean, it's weird because, like, Magneto and Sir Ian McKellen, I always felt like fit to a T. Like that to me was like, yup, absolutely, 100%, like makes sense. And like, but Professor X is one of those really weird characters because Professor X has done some shitty things.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, oh yeah, Professor X has done some like really shitty and manipulative like things over the years.
He faked his death for 2 years or something like that.
He like killed a whole X-Men team and like didn't tell anybody about it. He killed an entire X-Men team and like didn't tell anybody. Yeah, it was
so
like
so like the first class of X-Men isn't really the first class.
No. So like. I'm blanking on like who all the heroes were, but like a lot of them were kind of like the X-Force in between. But it was like it was like in between the time of like the original X-Men team of like Cyclops, Beast, Jean Grey, Iceman, and Angel, and like when Giant Size X-Men came out, when it had like Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Storm, Cyclops, and Peter Rasputin. But like there's like a story in the middle there, and it was like part of like, I don't remember the comic book arc, it was like Lost Years or something like that, where he pretty much like assembles this whole like X-Men team to go like save the first X-Men team, and like they all die, like all of them. Like
don't have to check that out then.
Yeah, all of them are like dead, and he just like kind of never brings it up again until like finally like he's like pressed upon it like years later, because I think it like there was like another Summers brother, because there's like 30 of them. Yeah, there was like another Summers brother that was like on the team that died.
Or like 9 kids from the future.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like Cable and like all 9
Strife.
siblings.
Yeah, Cable, Strife.
But yeah, we can make a whole episode just about the Summers family tree.
I mean, I have like a poster that I drew out. That has...
We could get a look at that later.
No, it's just weird. But anyways, so yeah, but like I felt like Sir Patrick Stewart as like the very core of like Professor X, like, you know, doing what's right for humanity, and the very representation of like that character, I always thought was like, spot on.
Well, you know what the funny thing is, like before he got the role, they gave him a copy of an X-Men comic book with Professor X on the cover, and apparently he said, "What the hell am I doing on a comic book?"
Right. Right. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Well, he's just a bald white dude.
Yeah. So speaking of X-Men, this is my number 3 pick, and I think this is kind of one a lot of us saw coming. Hugh Jackman is the Wolverine.
Yeah.
I think just because he became so synonymous with that character over the course of the last, 20 years? Or nearly 20 years. I mean, yes, the one complaint I would have to say about Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, as far as faithfulness to the interpretation of this character or whatever, is just the height.
He's too tall.
What?
He's too tall.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman's 6'2"? Something like that? He's over
yeah,
6'2".
I mean,
he's
but,
at 6
yeah, but Wolverine is 5'2".
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which let's be real here, when they did the fastball special on X-Men 3, it didn't feel the same way, because I love it in the comic books, because Colossus is 9 feet tall.
Pretty much, yeah.
And Hugh Jackman, Wolverine's 5'3", so he actually fits in the palm.
Yeah, both feet fit in his palm. It's
exactly.
Weird. It's kind of adorable.
Boom, yeah, it is really adorable. And deadly, all at the same time. But other than that, though, he gets the grit of the character down right more than anything, because...
It's like a koala with a machine gun.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's adorable, but you're like, that's terrifying.
Cute. Oh, he's got claws. But yeah, other than that, though...
Is that a monkey? He's got a gun! Bang, bang, bang! Mike Mignola references.
Yeah. He's a hitman. It's Hitmonkey.
Hitmonkey.
He's Hitman, who's also a monkey. You don't believe me, do you, Spider-Man? No, I don't. Deadpool references now. But yeah, just overall, he gets the grit of the character down, which is very important to Wolverine. Wolverine is never happy. Let's be real here. Even when he's smiling, he's not happy.
No, he's a miserable bastard.
He is a very miserable bastard. So.
Which is weird, because he's Canadian. And I always think Canadians are just
happy all the time. I just want to play hockey.
Happy and nice, yeah.
Now legalized weed, which by the way, we're going to Canada.
I mean, I say this to Nicole all the time that like we would be excellent Canadians. Like I love hockey. She loves maple syrup. We're super polite. Like I'm all down for like healthcare and like and weed. So
exactly.
I'm all about like Canada. I can do it.
Just then you have to go back to sub-zero weather.
Yeah. It's too bad Canada doesn't have like a Miami.
Exactly. At the very least, a Miami.
Well, somewhere kind of warm. Like
exactly.
where's the like warmest place that you could be in Canada? Like Vancouver.
Right. Or I was gonna say Montreal, but.
Oh God, it's cold in Montreal though.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's cold in Vancouver too. It's cold in Canada. It's not called the Great White North for nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's kind of a reason for it.
Yeah. Why are they so happy?
When you say it because it's never windy.
Why are they so happy? It's the weed and the healthcare
exactly.
and the yeah.
And the hockey.
And the hockey.
And the hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember one time I went to Montreal like 2 months after the Expos moved from Montreal to DC and became the Nationals. You wouldn't have even noticed.
They don't care.
You wouldn't even notice. For them, it was just, so a shitty baseball team left. Now we have more room to push all this hockey gear. That's really what it was. I'm not even kidding you. It's like every single sports store you went to, it was like if there was any kind of Montreal's Expos type of gear, it was on massive discount. It was like 97% off.
So Victor Creed is also Canadian, and he's miserable.
I thought Victor Creed was just a friend.
No, Victor Creed. No, like
they're not actual brothers, despite what the movies say.
They are actually. They're half brothers.
In the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, in Wolverine Origins. But yeah, because Wolverine's mother was having an affair with Victor Creed's father, and so like they're like half brothers. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's how Wolverine Origins went. But who knows? Wolverine's also dead, but he actually also like just came back. He's back now.
Wolverine?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that took longer than I expected, but I knew it was coming.
Yeah, pretty much right up until like the merger of Disney and Fox. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what they were waiting for. Like Fantastic Four's coming back. Actually, I think they're already back.
Maybe, I don't know. We could talk about that whole merger later. We could probably get moving on. So what is your number 3, Dan?
Going with Fox and mutates, I went with Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I mean, it's even said in the comics that Deadpool looks like a mix between Ryan Reynolds and the Shar-Pei.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I just think that, like, that kind of, like, humor and wit just is completely Deadpool and just, like, works 110%. Like, ever since we saw that, like, leaked test footage, you were like, that's...
Leaked.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
Like, that's the dude. Like, there is no one else that you can think that, like, plays that character. And it's funny because they've just done such a great job of bringing that character on screen. The only thing that's missing from the movies are the little yellow speech bubbles.
Oh, the schizophrenia part?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard they're not going to touch with that at all in the movies.
Oh, I'm sure.
The only thing I would...
That's a highly, like, stylized visual comic
yeah, exactly.
thing. Like...
However, I will say this, so if they do somehow figure out a way to display Deadpool's schizophrenia, I want Nolan North playing the voices inside his head. I
think it would be like at least a cool scene, at least once to do.
Well, I'm just saying I'd like Nolan North to do it because up until Ryan Reynolds, because Nolan North played Deadpool a few times in like some cartoons and in the video game.
Yeah.
Because he's in every fucking video game. Every video game. What was I trying to say? Yeah, like... He kind of was, at least for me, he kind of was Deadpool until Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, sure, but it's like Batman.
It was like Kevin Conroy is the Batman.
Kevin Conroy, thank you. Yeah. Mark Hamill is the Joker.
Exactly, it was that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But now that we have like an actual interpretation,
I'm just going to change my number 2 and number 1 right now to Mark Hamill as the Joker and Kevin Conroy as Batman because honestly, like, that's it. I'm not doing that. I got other ones.
For me, it was what was I trying to say? It's really funny, too, because up until Deadpool came out, or even was announced it was being made, I would always say, Ryan Reynolds is going to be in a superhero movie. Why would I want to see that? Like, he was Green Lantern. That movie stunk.
Oh, but it was he did such a great version of Green Lantern. It was such an honest adaptation of the character.
Hal Jordan.
Just super lame.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I can,
saves a helicopter with a race car.
I can, like...
With a Hot Wheel. Not even a race car, with a Hot Wheel.
I can, like, hear the Green Lantern fans, like, charging the building now. Like, don't talk shit about Green Lantern.
Were there any fans of that movie?
No, I just mean of Green Lantern in general.
Oh, okay.
Like, Green Lantern has always had, like, a huge following.
Like a weird cult following.
Yeah. And, like...
It's always been kind of like one of those B+ superheroes, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Super, not like.
When Jeff Johns was doing like the whole Green Lantern Rebirth series, like those were really fun to read and those were really great. And then they were just like, we've got every single color of the spectrum in the lanterns. Like there's the blue ones and the red ones and the purple ones, and you were just like, okay, you guys are just, you're just scraping the barrel here.
Yeah, exactly. But like I was trying to say though too, when they announced that Deadpool was going to be made, like they have to cast Ryan Reynolds. They can't cast anyone else.
No.
So I guess moving on.
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
To number 2 for me, and this is another one I'm sure a lot of people saw coming. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Now,
nice.
Here's the thing about him. Here's the thing about this one. I don't necessarily think that at the time he was cast that this was necessarily a good interpretation of the character, but this took the character to a whole nother level. After the movie came out, I remember I read one graphic novel with Iron Man in it, and the graphic novel in and of itself wasn't that good, but I just remember not liking Tony Stark at all in it very much because he wasn't as snarky, he wasn't as sarcastic, and he just wasn't as all. He still had that level of smug and arrogance, but it wasn't like
charming,
exactly.
Right.
It was just kind of like, oh, I get it, you're just a rich dude.
Like when Bruce Wayne is just kind of being a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's just Bruce Wayne and has absolutely no personality whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
fair.
Like they're just trying way too hard. Like, and this is also post-alcoholism.
Yeah.
Where it's like the
you're not even a fun drunk.
What?
You're not even a fun drunk.
Exactly, and like
he wasn't a fun drunk.
No, he wasn't a fun drunk. But like the darkest they got was with in this whole story arc was when it's a scene that goes nowhere where he talks to Carol Danvers of all people because she's just like I guess like at this point in her career she just hit a low point and she was just diving into the bottom.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, you're a bigger fan of the character than I am.
Yep.
So Captain Carol Danvers. So, still looking forward to that movie, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Which, by the way, for Avengers 4, I think I've told you this, but you'll appreciate this because you're a bigger wrestling fan than I am. But my motto going into Avengers 4 is Danvers with a chair.
Power gold! Power gold! He is broken in half. He is broken in half.
I swear to God, if she picks up his throne and smashes him over the head with it, I will lose my shit.
Oh, someone just has to yell like, "Somebody call an ambulance! He is broken. As God is my witness, I have never seen this kind of depravity in my entire life." Bow God! Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
Oh my God! I really hope that happens. Like, I just want her to lift up his throne and just smash it over.
I will do the full commentary for that.
Yeah.
No problem.
Who's playing Carol Danvers? It's Brie Larson. Right?
Brie Larson.
Yeah, looking forward to her because I'm not gonna lie to you, haven't really seen too much of her work. I've just seen her. My most exposure to Brie Larson so far has just been like that weird
Scott
on again, off again character that she played in Community. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, she was in Community for 3 episodes like that. Almost love interest for Abed. Or Abed, whatever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, I thought maybe you were thinking Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
She was in Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Yeah, she does the song by Metric. She does Black Sheep by Metric.
I don't remember that.
Hello again, friend of a friend.
I don't remember.
It's when Scott Pilgrim fights the vegan.
I gotta see that movie again.
Yeah, it's you know what? Okay, so since that is a comic book movie and it's on topic, I'm gonna diverge for a second because I watched that movie again for the first time not long ago. Scott Pilgrim is a dick.
He is a dick.
Fuck that guy.
No, yeah,
Fuck
he's the
that
most unsympathetic hero ever. I almost
hate
don't
that
want
guy.
him to win.
I remember when I watched that movie the first time, I remember sitting there and being like, wow, Ramona Flowers sucks. I hate this girl. I would have absolutely no interest in this woman.
Which character?
Ramona Flowers.
The main character.
The main love interest.
The one
and then there's Suki, who's really sweet, and Scott Pilgrim just kind of keeps kicking her around the entire film. That dude sucks.
Well, it's never what the weirdest thing about it though is too is he's 20 or something like that, and she's 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not creepy.
Yeah.
That's not creepy at all.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
Nah.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is.
He is a scum, and what was it too? He had a fling with the drummer too, and he kind of just cast her to the side too.
Oh yeah, and she hates him.
Yeah, she hated throughout entirely.
Yeah, who was that played the drummer? That's
she's I want to say Paige, but I know that's way wrong.
No, it's not. I don't remember.
Holy shit, that movie's older than I thought it was.
Oh my God, that movie.
Alison Pill.
Yeah, Alison Pill. That's right. Oh yeah, that was directed by Edgar Wright.
Yeah, By the way, what has she been up to lately? Okay. Oh, she's gonna be an American Horror Story. Yeah, because I like Alison Pill.
Yeah, she's around.
Yeah, that's right. She was in the newsroom for a little while. Yeah, that was a thing.
Didn't that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that whole movie.
Yeah. Well, at any rate.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scott Pilgrim's a dick, which is why I'm not
Scott
putting him on my
Pilgrim's
list at
a
all.
dick.
Mainly just because I didn't read the comic book as well.
He's a dick. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so where are we at? Is it my turn?
Number
2? My turn?
Yeah.
Cool. Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd. I am the law.
Okay, not that one.
I am the law.
No, well, closer, yeah. But like, yeah, not the Sylvester Stallone. Like, my Sylvester Stallone just always turns into Bill Murray from Caddyshack.
Steps into the park.
So I've got that going for me. Which is pretty cool. But yeah, no, Judge Dredd, Carl Urban in the most recent one, because not only was that just like an awesome movie, but I actually started reading a lot of 3000 AD, like Judge Dredd comics after that, and it's funny because Carl Urban is like the least amount of personality that you can give Judge Dredd, except for making him completely one-dimensional in that like obey the law or I'm going to send you to the cubes, punk. Like,
but isn't that kind of what Dredd's all about?
He's essentially just Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
And he's like
Eastwood, John Wayne type of character.
He's just the cardboard cutout of Clint Eastwood. He's not even like the full Clint Eastwood, you know? Like, that's it. So like the more like exactly, like the more one-dimensional that you can make like Judge Dredd, like the better it is actually.
Honestly, yeah, you're right, because he's such a character that's so rooted in just violence.
Right, that's it. He just needs to be like hyper violent and just like, you're going to jail, punk.
Or
like,
die.
Or die. Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's pretty much just the better RoboCop.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, pretty much.
RoboCop 1 was great. RoboCop 1's great.
Oh, I just mean it like in terms of like characters.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, but I mean RoboCop.
Well, believe it or not, RoboCop does have some depth to him.
Yeah, he does.
Some depth.
Yeah, the whole, yeah. I mean, and RoboCop arguably has better one-liners.
Dead or alive.
You're coming with me. Peter Weller, man.
Yeah.
Kills it.
I'll buy that for $1, but that's not one of his, but that's still the best scene.
Yeah, there's another one that he had. Dead or
Alive. Was
Alive.
RoboCop a comic book first or no? It was a movie.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was a movie first. And then it became just like a whole bunch of shit. I mean, it was like 5 sequels and a cartoon show.
All rated R, all of them somehow getting action figures made.
And they just...
Remember that in the late 80s, early 90s when they would make action figures of R-rated movies? You don't get that anymore.
No, you really don't.
No, no.
I mean, but like what? I mean, Deadpool, I guess. Kind of different.
But still the same thing. Well, let me put it this way. They don't make action figures of Deadpool the movie. They make action figures based on Deadpool the comic book character.
I remember when like they used to make action figures off of like the most random movies. Like they'd be like, "Oh, new Waterworld action figures." And be like, "Why the fuck would you buy that?"
Nobody saw this movie.
Like, "Oh, sweet, I have a Kevin Costner with Gil's action figure."
I bet you money though that thing sells for a pretty penny on eBay right now.
I mean, I kind of like Waterworld, and the show at Universal's cool.
I gotta check it out.
Who doesn't love like it's Mad Max with jet skis, and whoever didn't call jet skis motorcycles fucked up hard time.
Call them what?
Motorcycles.
Motorcycles. I don't know. I think jet ski is better than motorcycle.
I disagree. I think motorcycle is because you know exactly what I mean when I say motorcycle.
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You got honorable mentions? Are we there yet?
Let's do the honorable mentions.
Or did you do your number 2?
I already did my number 2. It was Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
Which, again, like, was a better interpretation of the character than the comic book could ever give me.
Right.
In all honesty.
For sure.
Because like I knew who Iron Man was when the movie first came out. You knew who Iron Man when the movie first came out was. I'm sure a lot of people did, but nobody really knew anything about the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I knew. Yeah, I mean, like I knew he was a super tech genius. He was a drunk, founding Avenger, and was just kind of always like the money guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, like, no, he's Batman of Marvel. Period.
Yeah, full on.
Full on.
Like.
Well, not full on. He's not as dark. That's Moon Knight, which we can get into later.
Oh man, I would be super excited for a Moon Knight.
If they're ever going to make a Moon Knight thing, I think it's going to be on Netflix.
I do too. I agree.
Which he'd fit in very well with that corner of the
New York semi-small. like superhero team things.
So I'm actually watching. I just started watching the new season of Luke Cage right now, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, because I've already noticed, like we've all noticed, and I just read an article on it, and I'm gonna diverge for just a split second here. Yeah, it's been pretty obvious that Marvel's TV section and movie section have just been like further dividing from each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna say one thing and one thing only because they didn't, and I don't think they're gonna have it because it wasn't featured in Agents of Shield, which has always been the quote unquote most connected to the movies.
Yeah.
Not talked about.
Right.
Not even mentioned. Nobody turns to dust at the end of the season of event Agents of Shield, and I'm just like, what the hell? And fuck you! You mentioned Thanos like 4 times.
If they could just make Danny Rand disappear, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
After that, I'd feel like it was perfectly balanced.
Exactly.
As all things should be.
And we get a what's her name? The only character that I liked in that show, the White Tiger. What's her name?
Oh, Connie.
Connie Wynn, was it?
I don't remember.
Colleen Wing.
Colleen Wing. I was close. Wing. I said Connie.
Colleen Wing. Yeah. So yeah, there's that, and that was our little diatribe.
I'm gonna start that show tonight. I'm pretty sure. Well, I've actually got the season finale of Westworld, and then after that,
I need to watch all of the second season of Westworld. I haven't watched a single episode of it yet.
I love Westworld, but there's just something about it, and it's like it's not.
This season's kind of ant.
It's okay. This is my thing. It's not Westworld's fault. This is a total Pavlovian condition on my part. But like growing up, like my dad was a big Western guy, and I can just remember like. I don't know, every like lazy Saturday afternoon, like him putting on like an old Western and it was like, boom, nap time, done. Like I'm just out for the count. There's just something about like long sweeping landscape shots and like that old timey piano music that's just like, it's like whale noises. Like I'm out. So every time I put on Westworld, I fall asleep. And it's a really, really good show and I really like it. And I try so hard and I'm just like, it's gotten to the point now where I block out an hour of the middle of my day. I'm like, I'm gonna watch Westworld from 1 to 2 p.m. So that way there's no way I can fall asleep, and I do. It's not a criticism on Westworld.
I gotta go through it again.
It's totally Pavlovian on my side. Like anytime I won't go see a Western movie in theaters because I know I'm gonna fall asleep. It's gonna be a waste of my money.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the first season of Westworld, I mean, I liked it, but I think just for me, the problem is it's like I've seen the whole AI gain sentient story so many times, like just because of all the sci-fi I've seen. Like this is right off the heels of what do you call it? This isn't too long after this show came out.
Age of Ultron.
Long after Age of Ultron. Terminator is one of my all-time favorite movies. The first one, anyway.
It's not. I mean, it's not altogether like new or inventive. Yeah, it's good. I like it.
It is good. It's just the mere fact it's like the whole the robots are gonna start killing the humans. I'm like, yeah, I know this is gonna happen.
Yeah, we all know that's gonna happen.
We all know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, Alexa's gonna murder us all.
Yeah, and then Siri's just gonna be fucking retarded in the corner. Because Siri doesn't do anything, right, Siri? Yeah, you see, she doesn't even respond when I'm insulting her. Which might be a good thing for right now.
Yeah, really. It's just remembering all those times you said dickish things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. What's your honorable mentions?
Okay, so I'm just gonna go through them real quick because I actually have 3, and I'm not even gonna go into too details about it. My first is gonna be Chris Evans as Captain America.
Boom, me too.
All right, so that scratches that one out of the way. I'm also gonna go with just because. Well, first off, we were talking about this beforehand. Chris Evans has just become. We're interpreting a comic book. Get Chris Evans.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Which he's great in them all. Like, I mean, I can't say. I mean, like, I know he wants to leave the MCU because he wants to do other things, and I can't say I blame him.
I do.
I mean, I don't want him to leave, but I can't.
It would be my childhood dream to be Captain America forever.
What'd you say?
I said it's like my childhood dream to be Captain America forever. So yeah, no, I'm like pissed at that. I'm like, I get it, I understand it, but at the same time, like, the 10-year-old in me is like, what do you mean you don't want to throw the shield around for the next 40 years?
Exactly,
like,
until you can't anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Even you could still even play like Steve Rogers as old man Steve Rogers.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
Because I like old man Steve Rogers because at that point he was done being Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, it was great.
You know, he was just bitter, pissed off at everything.
He's
especially
like
at Tony.
Yeah, it was like your grumpy grandpa just going around and just like punching Hydra agents. It was
exactly.
Awesome. Like, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm also going to go with actually Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kick-Ass.
Okay.
Yeah, just because he really just captured that whole like naive nerd, like just really getting in over his head. and not realizing it's like that one scene. It's like, why hasn't anybody tried to be Batman yet? Because someone would die,
Right.
and he almost died several times.
Yeah.
So there's that, and my final one is I'm actually going to go with Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury.
Okay.
Yeah, for the obvious reason of Marvel based the look of Ultimate Nick Fury on Samuel Jackson. So how do you lose?
Right.
Yeah.
I think the only one that I would add into that is Adam West as Batman.
I'm okay with it. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Because there's just something about, like, I mean, we all know, like, the dark and broody, like, Batman, but there's something about, like,
Where is he?
there's something about, like, whenever someone, like, gets, you know, dressed up drunk at a, like, Halloween costume as Batman and starts doing the bat dance, like, we all know exactly that's Adam West, and, like, we're all really cool and, like, okay.
I mean, Adam West was my introduction to Batman.
Sure, yeah, just about everybody.
Yeah,
everybody's was. And, like, there's something just that's just, like, super wholesome and just super fun and just reminds you of, like, a simpler time, and then nostalgia behind it is just, like, so powerful that, like, whenever you see, like, Adam West Batman, like, even, like, the Batman 66 comics, which are just so stupid.
They're great.
They're so much fun to read, though.
Them and the how they made a comic book based on the 90s cartoon show of the X-Men.
Yeah.
And they just totally poked fun at the idea that this was a cartoon show meant for kids.
Yeah.
So they couldn't really dive deep into the whole...
X-Men 92 is good.
What?
X-Men 92 is good.
Yeah, oh, it's great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of 92.
But yeah, the best thing about the Adam West Batman was...
Except for Gambit. Am I the only one who just hates Gambit? I hate Gambit.
Yeah, Gambit's... Mon ami.
It's like...
Asia.
It's like the most, like, try-hard 90s, like, frat boyish... Oh, I throw playing cards and I'm French and I don't... Like, oh my god, you're gross.
And I just want to bang rogue even though I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh god, it's just terrible.
But for me, the best part about Adam West Batman was when he first came out, how he pissed off all the fans because it's not the dark, gritty Batman and I'm using blah, 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 blah. And, like, we've had this conversation before. My argument about Batman is everything that makes him awesome is also everything that makes him silly and goofy.
Right.
It's like, yeah, like Spider-Man, the things that make him silly and goofy are the fact that Peter Parker's a whiny little bitch sometimes. That I get. But
most of the time.
But at the same time, though, as a superhero, like, I get why he is capable of doing what he can do. He's got spider powers.
Mm-hmm.
Batman is just like, no, fuck you. You can't do that. You can't. I don't care how much money you have. There's X thing you can't do, Batman. But we're gonna let it slide because you're Batman.
Because you're Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's frustrating, but you know, he had shark repellent spray. Just super convenient.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't think it was shark repellent. I think it was some other kind. I think that's one of those things everybody gets wrong. It wasn't shark repellent spray. It was something else. But it was basically shark repellent spray.
It was basically shark repellent spray. Or like the time that he reconfigured the UN out of dust in the movie. Like they like, what do? They like dehydrated like all of the members of the UN. So they had
water.
It did, yeah. So they like had to like, and they were like represented by like different colored dusts, and they had to like separate all the different grains of oh my god, it was so dumb. It was so great.
It's a goofy movie.
It was so great.
Very progressive for its time, though.
It was.
Because it opens up with that whole, we tried to include as many people of different creeds and skin colors and everything like that.
Yeah, it's like Star Trek.
And if we couldn't, we're sorry. I'm just like, you know what? Way to go 1970s. Like,
Yeah. 60s.
60s,
Yeah,
excuse me.
yeah, mid 60s. I mean, Star Trek 2, same type of thing.
What'd you say?
Star Trek 2, same type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we should start moving on and think about wrapping this up because my meter's going to run out soon.
It's okay, I need a nap.
Yeah. I don't know what to do because you already took this one from me. My number one is actually Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if I should even bother saying anything else about it at all. Just because, yes, I'm admitting that.
I'd like to say a few words.
Yes,
Typewriter.
I'm totally admitting that,
Banana.
that I'm letting my fanboys and get in the way of this, but let's be real here. Like, if anything at all, as good as an actor as he may be, can we just be honest here? And Ryan Reynolds' wheelhouse is just the raunchy comedy character.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just the perfect, and Deadpool is just the perfect character for a guy like Ryan Reynolds. Just truly is. Just like, just person, not even like looks wise or anything, just personality wise. He's just, like just the absolute cynicism and sarcasm and just the whole.
The dark
just, like,
humor.
destroying everything that is going on in comic book movies these days, or just superhero stuff in general, is just way too perfect of a character for Ryan Reynolds.
I agree. I mean, it was such a great and strong casting, and like the amount of devotion that everyone put into that role was...
The only other person in Hollywood who's living in Hollywood right now that I would rather see play Deadpool over Ryan Reynolds is me, and that's never going to happen. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not getting in that kind of shape ever.
No.
No, I'll write Deadpool, but I don't think I could ever... No. I'm also not tall enough to play the character, I don't think. But there's nothing wrong...
You're not pretty enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure if I got that cut, I could be, but...
You gotta try real hard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a dedication to a lifestyle.
Since we kind of already talked about Deadpool enough.
I went with Nick Fury.
Sam Jackson, Nick Fury?
No, David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff?
Yeah, I went with David Hasselhoff. And I've always felt like it was a mistake that the MCU didn't use David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
But they did bring David Hasselhoff back.
True. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, of course it's Samuel L. Jackson. Because that dude, like, when you think of like badass spy master, you know, especially like current Nick Fury, not so much like Nick Fury. Although I would love to see like a Nick Fury like throwback movie, but I don't know that we'll ever get it.
Well, we're kind of sort of getting it with the next Captain Marvel movie.
No, but I mean like Nick Fury and like the Howling Commandos.
Oh, you mean like him in World War II?
Right, when he was Sergeant Fury.
When he was Sergeant Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how was he able to live as long as he is again? He was like an early experiment with the super soldier serum, right?
Yeah, it was, if I remember correctly, and this is one of those things that's been like redone time over again and it's not consistent at all, but if I remember correctly, like he got like a version of the super serum soldier that like wasn't as complete as like Captain America's. Like I want to say it came after when they were trying to like re-replicate the serum, and it was one of those things where I also can't remember, like I know in the Ultimate Universe he got it because he was captured by Nazis and they were just like injecting him with stuff, like just as like a test subject, which I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. But in like the main Marvel universe, I'm pretty sure he got like...
that's right, and he killed them all, I think, or something like that.
That was in the Ultimate Universe, yeah. That was in the Ultimate Universe.
Which Ultimate Universe had a really great start, and then like...
Oh, dude, I got so
bad. The only thing in the Ultimate Universe that remained consistently good, I would say, and I don't want to say it was like great throughout, but like it was just good and entertaining, was Ultimate Spider-Man right up until the end. There was a
whole comic arc where all of the Ultimates, Avengers, all of the Ultimates were like infected by vampirism.
I remember that one.
There was a vampire Hulk. There was a vampire Captain America.
That was so stupid, especially considering the fact that the whole gimmick of the Ultimate Universe was supposed to be, it's going to be even more realistic, and then you start throwing in vampires and like...
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, like, when they talk about realism, like making a superhero or a comic book character more quote-unquote realistic, I expect that to be more along the lines of what's happening in the world outside them. Which is kind of why, like, as flawed as the comic book might be, or even the or like as whatever with the movie, like, it totally would make sense that the government would be like, yeah, no, we don't want superheroes unless they're regulated by us because they keep blowing shit up. That makes sense. That totally makes sense, like, why that would happen. But when you start talking about, like, how can I put it, like, just like the, like everything they said about like Christopher Nolan's Batman, how realistic it was. It's like, dude, he had a grappling hook that was motorized. Do you know what kind of energy he would need in order to like lift? Like, there's a whole book that came out called The Physics of Superheroes,
right?
And it basically calls out all the bullshit, that you couldn't get away with. Like, for example, like even though Batman had like that crazy like glider cape, that thing still wouldn't. If you're jumping from the top of like a 30-story building, that thing still wouldn't slow you down enough so that way you wouldn't at least break your legs on anything.
Right. And it's like the same thing with like, it doesn't really matter how strong Spider-Man is, like the force of him coming down and swinging from like tall buildings would like dislocate his shoulders instantaneously.
Exactly.
Like it comes right. It comes to a point where like it actually has like very little to do with like actual muscular like strength, but just like skeletal construction. And it's like and it doesn't matter how fucking strong you are, like your arms are gonna pop out of your sockets, you're gonna fall to your death and die.
Exactly.
It just doesn't, like, it does not work that way. Like,
exactly. So that's kind of why whenever somebody says, oh, this was a much more realistic interpretation of the character, I roll my eyes.
Yeah.
Because like I was trying to say with Batman's grappling hook, like, yeah, they could make a gun that shoots a grappling hook, but it wouldn't be motorized.
I don't want a realistic version. I want Guardians. I want Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 16.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would totally rate that Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 16. Yondu teams up with Doot. With Doot.
Doot?
Yeah.
I don't know Doot.
Yeah.
Is that another group character?
Wait, no. What's the guy? What's the little blob thing from the X-Men?
Dupe?
Dupe.
I love Dupe.
I said Doot.
I want Dupe. I want a Dupe movie. I want Dupe in a movie. He's easily my favorite character in the X-Men. I don't give a shit.
Yondu and Dupe team up to steal from, I don't know, Thanos.
Because they all come back from the dead.
Yeah, oh yeah. Nobody stays dead.
Exactly.
Except for Uncle Ben.
Except for Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Who's going to come back at some point, let's be real there.
Yeah.
It's only been 50 years.
Longer than that now, right? When did Amazing Spider-Man come out? 1963?
Well, Amazing Fantasy.
Amazing Fantasy number 1. Number 15 was, 1963.
Yeah. It was like 1962, because I remember when the Amazing Spider-Man movie came out, that was also marking the 50th anniversary of the character.
Yeah.
Alright, so at any rate, I guess that's going to do it for us right now.
I'm going to go home and watch the Nick Fury movie with David Hasselhoff.
And just letting everybody know, I'll start posting information about it soon, but on July 7th, I'm going to be at the Comedy Store in the Belly Room. So mark your calendars, everybody. You might want to come out and check, see me make jokes about dumb, stupid, nerdy things. Alright, everybody. And my penis.
Right.
Because I'm a stand-up comedian, I have to make jokes about my penis.
Of course.
Exactly. Alright, everybody, that's going to do it. Dan, as always, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, everybody. Bye.